Hi, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for Papermaze. And at the moment I'm working with the gorgeous ART Options Rouge collection from 49 and Market. It's a really pretty collection, lots of florals. And for my layout today I really wanted to use lots of the floral pieces from the laser die cut pack. You get loads of bits in there, it's called Wildflowers, but they're just gorgeous. And I've got this photo of my little boy stood in front of like a display, and the back and the sides and the top of this display were all flowers kind of like stuck in together. Really pretty, and had a swing hanging in the middle. So I've got a few photos obviously, but I felt like this collection would work really beautifully with this photo. So I've pulled out lots of bits from that laser die cut set and I've arranged them going diagonally through my page. And I've decided I wanted to get a little bit messy with mixed media today. It's been a while, and I wanted to use my alcohol inks because I felt like I had some colours that would work really well with this collection. This one's got a little bit clogged, and you'll see in a second. There we go. As I unclogged it, it splattered everywhere, but that's okay. These are really easy to clean up any mistakes. But yeah, I wanted to use these. The only problem I find with them is if I use these and then some pattern papers on a layout, I end up covering up all the mixed media and then you don't see it. So I kind of have to go with, I either use pattern papers and not alcohol inks, or I use lots of alcohol inks and not much on the pattern paper side, because it's such a shame to make these backgrounds and then cover them up. So as I was really focusing on those laser die cuts today, I figured I'm not actually likely to use a lot of pattern papers, so it'd be perfect for me to pull out my alcohol inks. And you could use them with pattern papers and things, it's just the way I feel about them, personal preference. I don't like to cover it all up because, as you can see, it makes a really beautiful effect on the background. But with alcohol inks you can't use normal cardstock. The alcohol inks don't react and work as well, and it just soaks into the paper and doesn't move around and blend, as you can see them doing here. So I'm using a sheet of Yupo paper here. It's almost like a plastic sheet really, more than paper or cardstock. And I've just got some alcohol ink blending solution there in a little pot, and I started with adding a little bit of that to my background, then bringing in the alcohol inks, bringing in a bit more of that blending solution in, and then I'm using a Tim Holtz kind of like an air tool, which you squeeze and the air pumps out and it moves the inks around and helps them to activate. And it's just a case of having a play and keep going until I'm happy. I was tempted to bring in a little bit of green there, as you can see, but I just decided it wasn't going to look right. And as I said, this is really easy to clear up any mistakes. You just add a little bit of the blending solution on top and then it's just erasable. It's like magic, you can just wipe it away. So I added the green, didn't like it, and was able to erase that completely with that blending solution. And it dries really quickly as well on this Yupo paper, so it's fantastic for me in a way because I'm quite impatient and I don't like to sit waiting for mixed media to dry. So that is one of the bonuses about alcohol inks. So as you can see, I've got that background done now, and I've gone diagonally through the page. I've used 2 different shades of red, and I also brought in a pink as well because there was a lot of pink in the photo. And you can just see there the background effect is absolutely beautiful. And if I was to add loads of pattern paper on top now, I would just lose all of that. So it's fantastic to have that background, and then I can bring in these floral die cuts and have them arranged like so, and you can still see all of that beautiful background around it. So I'll pop a link in the description box below to the Papermaze website. As well as selling all these collections, Vanessa does stock a large range of alcohol inks as well, so head on over there. They're fantastic for having a play with, and unlike other mixed media, if you don't like it, you saw how easy it was to kind of erase your mistakes. If you change your mind about a colour, just add that alcohol blending solution and you can just wipe it off. So that is a bonus to them. So I've got my florals in place, and now I'm just kind of adding a few more bits, and typically I haven't got anything at all stuck down on the page yet. I'm still going, so I've got to remove it all in a minute to stick it down. But I've also got the chipboard pieces here as well, and I've pulled out some of those. I've got a couple of like phrase banners, and then a couple of circular sort of chipboard flares. I think one says adore you, and I think the other one says love you most, or something like that. I can't, my screen is so tiny when I do my voiceovers that I can't see. But yeah, really cute little sentiments on those. So I've bought a few of those in. And I've also got that little ticket stub as well there from a different laser die cut pack. and I love how it's looking. So now I'm going to commit and get everything stuck in place. So as always, I'm using lots of foam here to get everything stuck down. I love to have all that dimension on my page, so I've got some adhesive foam behind my photo to raise that up, and then I use little foam pads behind all of these die cuts to get them stuck. So the bit that tucks under, I don't tend to put anything, I just slide that under, and then the bit that is visible I raise up with the foam pads, and it kind of creates layers as everything tucks under everything behind it, but the edges are raised up. And it just brings lovely texture and dimension to the page. And then at the end I will just use my fingertips to turn up and curl some of those leaves and petal edges. Just makes them look a bit more realistic, and love how that looks. So just going to spend some time now working my way around getting all these bits stuck down, and then I can get my title in place, which you can see just at the bottom of the page there. I'm using a chipboard word by Dusty Attic that's also from Papermaze, and I'm going to heat emboss that to bring in a little bit of sparkle to my layout. But I felt like the rusticness of Dusty Attic works really well with 49er market, so I grabbed myself a few bits to use with this collection. And I love that the word love has got a little like swirly bit at the end. So I'm going to have the word love to the bottom left of my photo, and then that swirly bit is going to travel all the way to the bottom right of my photo, so it kind of encompasses it nicely and keeps it all together. Almost done with my sticking, and then I can get onto that title with the heat embossing. So I've skipped through the rest of the sticking for you, that's a bit boring to watch. And onto the heat embossing, and this is something I love to do, and it's really easy and so much fun. And you don't need a lot of equipment really. You will need some form of embossing fluid. You can see I've used a dabber on this one, I think that's by Ranger. You can also get ink pads and pens as well, so really easy to keep control of. You'll also need some embossing powders. You can see here I've used a gold glitter one, and you'll also need a heat gun. And these are relatively cheap to pick up as well. So you just need to cover your chipboard in your embossing liquid, and it's really easy to see where you've applied on chipboard because it goes darker and like a little wet colour, so it's really simple. You just apply this, then you pour your embossing powder on top, and then with the heat gun you just go over that, and it kind of melts the powder and sets it, and it's really magical to watch this bit. I absolutely adore doing this, and you'll see that as it melts it goes shiny, so you know that it's set. And you'll see in the close-ups how pretty the effect of this is. And you can get embossing powders in so many different colours. You can get glitter ones, you can get matte ones, you can get metallic ones. They're beautiful. But I felt like gold worked really nice with the collection and the colours in it. So we've gone with gold. I'm using my glossy accents, again from Papermaze, just to get that stuck into place. I use glossy accents for anything kind of chipboard, acrylic or sequins, because I find it's got a really strong hold. You could use it for your embellishments as well. I find that a bit of a waste because I find that double-sided tape or foam pads probably hold them well enough, but you could use glossy accents if you want to, but I like it for kind of my heavier embellishments. So that's now in place, and just to bring in a little bit more of the gold, I'm going to add some gold splatters, and this is a metallic gold acrylic paint I've just watered down on some packaging, and I'm going to town adding some splatters here and there. And I'm almost done. I do turn my camera off and then decide that I want to add a couple more bits, nothing major, but you'll notice in a minute I do add a couple of butterflies from the laser die cut pack, and I'm also going to add some sequins as well. So I just pulled out all of my sequins, you can see here, and picked out some reds, some greens and some gold, and just scattered a few of those across the page. And that is me done. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the layout and it's been inspirational for you. Maybe you want to go off and try some alcohol inks or some heat embossing. Both are two of my favourite things to do, so it's a really fun layout to create. If you do have any questions, obviously just ping me a message or a comment below. Always willing to help where I can. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I will leave some links to Papermaze in the description box below, and if you want to see any more close-ups or any further information, head over to the Papermaze blog. You'll find me over there today. But thanks very much for joining me. I'll be back shortly with another Rouge layout, but until then, take care. Bye bye.